I'm Heather Wheeler, and I'm the co-founder of the CrazyCouponLady.com here at the Win today at Brand Innovators, and I'm so lucky to be joined by Gabrielle from Mars.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Wesley. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Mars Wrigley North America.
I'm so thrilled to be talking with you today. I love marketing. I'm not super familiar with sports marketing. Obviously never done a commercial in the Super Bowl. So I'm so thrilled to be talking. Not yet. There you go. Thank you. So you have I've been stalking you, 25 years of experience with huge CPG brands like Procter & Gamble, General Mills, ConAgra, and now Mars. So tell me, how did your experience shape your approach to marketing and now what you're doing with Mars?
Yeah, I'm a career marketer, so I love consumers, and consumers are always at the heart of how I market. So I'm obsessed with being consumer obsessed, and I think what the thread is that I love business and I love consumers, and so the brands that I've worked on all have kept consumers at the heart of the business.
That really is the key, and it's so interesting how so many companies get far away from the consumer or the user experience, and that's something we're obsessed with at Crazy Coupon Lady as well. Okay, so let's talk about Super Bowl. Mars has a deep history of memorable campaigns, especially in the Super Bowl. How does Mars Wrigley approach blending its brands like Snickers and M&M's with the broader cultural conversations?
Absolutely. Well, Snickers is the official chocolate brand of the NFL. So Super Bowl is just one portion of that. We actually activate with Snickers and Snickers ice cream all throughout the NFL season. But the Super Bowl is really a cultural moment. And so big brands, you want your biggest brands on the biggest stage. And so that's why the last 2 years you've seen M&M's front and center during the Super Bowl game.
Yes, and I was reading that M&M's has done 9 Super Bowls since '98, and so it's something that the brand is obviously really familiar about. Tell me how you landed on this Almost Champions Ring of Comfort commercial this year.
Well, it's a great question. M&M's purpose is to create environments where everyone feels like they belong. And I would tell you, there are more almost champions than there are champions in the Super Bowl. I know there are a lot of disappointed folks that are watching the game because their team didn't quite make it that far. And so in creating a world where everyone believes they belong, we wanted to provide comfort to the almost champions. And what better way to comfort them through our chocolate candies that has a signature delicious comforting peanut butter in it.
Absolutely. Perfect. 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 My favorite scene, and I think everyone will have seen the commercial by now, was that moment where they're polishing the M&Ms with the size of the Almost Champions.
Yes.
Tell me what does that process look like? How, are you leaning on your agency to kind of help come up with those? Did you guys know that this is what you wanted to do? I thought it was just so perfect.
Oh, awesome. I would say our Super Bowl campaign, there's a ton of really amazing people, both our agency partners as well as my amazing brand teams that all come together for how we activate against the Super Bowl, both with M&M's as well as some of our other brands. So in essence, it's really about our team of folks. Just like an NFL team, everybody has their role. I think what's really fun about it is that everybody that was in the spot, including our M&M's characters, are really great sports about being almost champions.
Yeah.
And so I think that being able to inspire that moment of happiness and not take yourselves too seriously, I think that is the most fun part of our Almost Champions activation.
And I loved that you brought in Scarlett Johansson. She's not, you had football players otherwise, but what was that decision and why did you decide to bring somebody that wasn't part of the NFL or football scene?
Absolutely. I think the reason, again, M&M's is really creating a place where everyone feels like they belong. And you don't have to go to a Super Bowl to be an almost champion.
Totally.
And Scarlett Johansson was a perfect example of that, where she lost 2 Oscar races.
In the same year. I loved that.
That's our red M&M. He is always going to say the truth in very transparent form. But Scarlett was a great example of someone that is really successful, that can have fun being an almost champion.
Yeah, I loved that, because I imagine when you're doing something like the Super Bowl, it's multi-generational. I mean, you've got kids watching it all the way up. And so I felt like that spot really spoke to everybody. And I was thinking about my kids as I was watching the commercial. And I was like, this is so cool that we're having this conversation. That yes, there's going to be a winner and a loser, but we can poke fun. It still means, we should give our best and all of that. I loved the kind of broader messaging for each generation. And I think it will appeal to all. How do you think about the sort of multi-generational piece, especially in a Super Bowl? How do you decide, how to appeal to which audiences and all of that?
Absolutely. I think the interesting thing about the Super Bowl is it is the number one point where live audiences are actually watching in real time.
There's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it. And so it's where a lot of different audiences and different generations are coming together. And so you want something that'll be universally accepted and universally cherished, and it's relevant, but for different reasons.
Yes. Yep. I love that. Okay, so building on that idea of kind of ongoing engagement, in today's economic environment where consumers are more budget conscious, how is Mars adapting its approach to ensure its products continue to be attractive and accessible to audiences who might be seeking value?
I think the greatest thing about our category, and specifically the products that we have within our category, is that they're available to everyone, right? They attract everyone. And so when you think about places where you can have moments of happiness, candy is a place that makes everybody smile,
Totally.
Makes you feel a little bit better about everything. And so we just want to be in those places everywhere, and in multiple different formats that give people something to smile about.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people have talked about what they're doing before the ad launches, right? Like, you want to capitalize on all this money you're spending on the Super Bowl in the weeks leading up to it. Is there anything that you're doing post-game? Are you bringing it into stores? Is there any, will you continue to run that ad? What does that look like?
Absolutely. So immediately after the Super Bowl, the fans of the almost champions can go on to mnms.com and enter to win a comfort suit, which is a sweatsuit partnership we have with Champion, the apparel brand.
Genius.
That is M&Ms and has a really amazing pocket for you to put your peanut butter M&Ms in and have that comfort. That's happening immediately after the game. But we also have quite a few new items that are launching that also will provide moments of everyday happiness and comfort. So we are launching our PB M&Ms in minis, so they're very poppable, and then also for if you need a lot more comfort, PB Mega, which has about double the amount of peanut butter in one candy coated shell.
You have a fun job. I'm a little bit jealous right now. That's amazing. Well, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much. This is really fun.
Really nice to meet you.
Yes, you
Thank
too.
you.